Many people are suggesting that to solve our problem in life is to be unattached, because there are spinning thoughts all over the shop, right? So if you don't attach the thought, at least there's some clarity to yourself. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you retreat back. But my solution isn't that way. My solution is to turn that thought into breath. That's my solution. That's my language to the world. What's my dream tonight? Somehow I was dreaming about two different waters. And during the dream, I was kind of wondering if the water that I'm drinking, to what extent new water being mixed with clear water. In Singapore, there's a term called new water, and this is treated water or recycled water. Water that has been used in the industry and in the factories. When they come out of it, they become very dirty. But we have a system in Singapore to clean it up, to treat it. And after cleaning it up, it is termed new water. And it's not very clear and clean, but it's kind of treated water. And we mix this treated water with the clear water that comes from the ocean or from the sky. So I'm wondering to what extent the water that I'm drinking has been mixed up with treated water. And how should I interpret this dream? Well, yesterday, I remembered I was experimenting with myself. I tried to make the self as clear as ever, because I realized that when a person talks to me, he has a certain amount of self, right? Yes. And this self that is coming from him is affecting me. So I'm wondering to myself how I can treat that self that's coming from the other side, because I'm able to clear it up, so to speak. I don't know how I did it, but clear it up. The presence or the identity has lesser self than the self that is from the other party. And that's probably why I'm dreaming about new water and clear water. Many times in my video I said that every space-time has got a soft identity. Every space-time has a certain frequency. And between two persons, it doesn't really match. That's right. So, and I noticed, I sensed, the self of some people are much stronger than myself. So I was trying to experiment if I could clear up the self. Yes, to make it less selfful when it comes to me. That's right. Because I have noticed that the more selfful a person has inside his body, the more selfful the person has, although he navigates very well in this world, but he has less ownership of the world around him. And the less self the person has, And although it apparently appears with less self, there is less power and navigating power. But yet, the person with less self owns more, has more ownership of the world he lives in. Now, you may not understand what I'm trying to say. This is the language that I'm using, okay? Yeah. I'm trying to interpret a dream, so I hope you understand that. This videos of mine is my journey, and you're always invited to my journey, my journey to my soul. But if you want to know some things, best that you follow this journey, because you're not aware, and I'm sure most people are not aware of the level of self and how this level of self is actually the level of ownership you have for the world. Now, I've been talking something that may not seem obvious or may not make sense to you at all. As I said, it's not meant to make sense to you. It's only meant to make sense to me. Okay, because I'm interpreting a dream. But what's important here is that it suddenly dawned on me while I write this video that the way to clear up the self of the other party as it comes to me is through resonance. And that's the way to do it. And to resonate means to convert the thought of that other party into breath. And I just did that while I was creating this video. I just did that. And I realized that the other person's self, when it comes to me, has now become softer, has now been converted, so to speak, to clear water. The important thing to realize is that I didn't say that the self of the other party I have changed. I only said that the self of the other party, when it comes to me, it has become softer. And that's what resonance is about. It is my world that is being affected. The self that I notice in the other party is in me. And when I convert that self to a softer level, it is in my world that I'm converting. And to convert, I have to do a resonance. I have to convert that self to its elementary substance, its breath. You must realize that it's a very, very strange world we live in. Every one of us is actually living in our world. And the people that we talk to is just simply people on the other side of me. It's myself on the other side of me. And that other guy can claim the same way. He can claim that I'm just only the other side of himself. We live in a very strange world. It's not absolute, but relative. That's right. And that's why when I resonate with the other party, I don't mean that there's any change with the other party. I don't intend to. I'm only resonating for the purpose of converting that self which I'm seeing in my world, yes, back to breath. Why? As I said earlier in my audio, I'm owning more of the world I lived in. Wow. I've used a lot of language. I've used soft. I use the softening of self. I've used the word resonance. I've used the word ownership of the world. Wow. I've used the other person is the other self of me. All these words have no meaning to you. It has only got meaning to me in my language. You see, when I journey into my universe, I have to create languages of my own. Otherwise, I cannot traverse around. So I have to create my own language with my own definition. So it's not easy, of course, but you have to create your own language too as you journey into your soul. So I mentioned about a very important thing called ownership. And that's very true. You see, this thought that I'm having around me is only owned by me when it has become breath. You see, as Buddha said, you can see a path that you're traveling. But that path you're traveling, you are watching it from a third-party view. It's not yours. The mystery of life itself is to make that path mine. Not just mine, that's not the correct word. The path has become me. This is a mystery altogether. The path has turned breath. And because I am breath, the path is me. And once the ownership has taken place, and once I've owned the path, or I and the path has become one, the path will completely align to my will. And that's how my life, the world I lived in, has greatly prospered. And let me emphasize that we live in a world of thoughts. This is a space-time for us that we create in our mind. But it is not mine at the moment until I have turned it to breath. And so a man wanders through the space-time of his own mind, fights, negotiates, enjoy whatever it is in the thoughts of his mind. No problem about that. But there's opposite polarities in that space-time. And there will be a moment of your life when you feel sad. Simply because there were moments of your life when you felt happy. And that creates the suffering of existence. That creates the meaninglessness of your venture. Why? Because the birth has to turn to death. And although the death has to turn to birth, but it has to return back again. So we have to turn all these thoughts to breath. Why? So that it becomes an eternal inheritance. Now, the word eternal inheritance has got its meaning to me. You see, what is eternal is timeless. You live in a time world, but you have to turn it to a timeless state. And breath is timeless. Yes, and it's from the timeless state that you are brought forth into time. And then time goes back to the timeless state, and then back to the time. It keeps on vacillating all the time. But when it has become timeless, it is eternal. And in this dream that we're having, water is useful for our body, provided it is clear. That's right. And the water that is being used in the industrial factories, they have to be cleared so that it can be useful for the body. So how to make that water clear? It is to resonate. Absolutely true, because you know why? Thoughts are fuming all the time. They circulate all the time. And they're not clear. And when you deal with something out there, like it's an industry or factory, it comes back to you unclear. It has to be. because you are passing the thought to another person and it's returning back to you. So whatever that is coming back in space-time is not clear. And it's not the fault of anybody, not the fault of anyone. It's simply the thoughts are not clear. So you have to return it back to its clarity. And to make it clear, there has to be a resonance. Why? Because when you resonate one frequency with another, these frequencies collapses. And what resulted from this collapse is a burst of energy from the dark black hole. Before I close this video, I want to say that many people are suggesting that to solve our problem in life is to be unattached, because they are spinning thoughts all over the shop, right? So if you don't attach the thought, at least there's some clarity to yourself. Yeah, that's true. You retreat back. But my solution isn't that way. My solution is to turn that thought into breath. That's my solution. That's my language to the world. Most important message this dream has on me. I generate the thought, and it is clearer. But when it is returned back to me from the other side of my life, it is less clear. It has got more self to it. So you can't solve the problem at all. The reason is because it is actually my own thoughts in the first place that is returned back. When it is returned back, it always becomes dirty, like industrialized water that needs to be retreated again. So the way to solve our problem in life is really to resonate, to return all these thoughts, including the thoughts which I first generated, back to breath. So that's the message of this dream. You see, down deep in my soul is clear water. But when I first talk and I think, the water gets a little bit dirty because thoughts come with a self-identity. And it becomes even unclear when it's returned back to me from another party. So the self spins in a heavier way. And it first started from my own thought. So how do we solve that? Return it back to breath. Now, the solution cannot be not to attach to the thoughts. You know why? Because thoughts is me. I'm the one generating the thoughts. So if I don't attach to the thoughts, it's like I'm not attaching myself to myself. That's not the right thing to do. I turn it to breath. That's to be the better way. Because when I turn it to breath, all is mine, all is me. I do not disattach from myself. I simply become one with me.